What's going on, everybody? I'm your girl, Lady and the Chef, and I'm joined by my co-host, Diva Lots, and we want to welcome you to another episode of Two Knicks Chicks. It's an exciting time to be a New York sports fan. It's a lot of exciting things happening between the start of the New York Knicks season. The NBA is back. The Knicks are playing preseason basketball, which we're going to talk about. The New York Liberty are in the finals. They made it back to the finals. That kicks off tonight at 8. Yankees and Mets are vying for their playing shot. So it's a good time to be a New York sports fan right now. But let's kick it off because we got lots to talk about. The Liberty do come on at 8 tonight. Knicks won their first two preseason home opener games. Their first one they played against Charlotte away. What did you think of that game?
Well, thank goodness it's a preseason game.
Yeah.
I say that, I don't know, loosely or whatever, because, when you watch it and you just sit back and you're like, well, half these guys aren't going to make it anyway. They're going to get cut. Um, I did like they did play limited minutes and, you
Hmm.
know, but that's the drawback because now when it's the real thing, the minutes increase. So, but it was too much back and forth. You know, it's like they couldn't guard the perimeter. And I get it's a preseason, but this is should be like a precursor to what you're gonna, you know, I can't say during the regular season, but this I guess kind of set the tone, for the actual, season.
Hmm.
Um, defense, where was it? And I don't know, just wasn't there. For me anyway. I guess because it was just like, Charlotte would come down, they were just chucking up threes and, for whatever, whatever reason. But anyway, um, of course Brunson, what he's capable. So eh, the issue's not with him for sure. This should not really not with your role players. I definitely, love, what I saw with Cat. And again, this is just a precursor to what we're gonna see, in our well, we know what he's capable of.
Hmm.
I just like how he's able to take on that 5 spot, because when he was with Minnesota, he was a 4. So they had their backup center in Gobert. So just him being able to step up and play that 5 and just how he plays it, like you sit back and you like, well, now I see why we got him. Because if not, Sims was gonna be our starter. So yeah, people, there was a bunch of him and hard, you got rid of two and this and that. But let's face it, are we better with Cat or would you want to roll with Sims? And had they not gotten Sims, Cat, this is who was gonna start for us. Because as we know, Mitch is out. So it's like I'm happy, with the Travels. I never had an issue with it anyway.
Hmm.
Um, I just love like that pick and roll action that I see between Brunson and Cat. I'm like, man, that's like a dynamic dude. Like you watch it, and it's just so flawless, effervescent, just like how how they play off of one another. The offense, was, kind of semi, solid, between Brunson and Cat, OG Bridges. Hart didn't score, but he was more like a kind of like a semi facilitate, just the outlet
Hmm.
passes. I mean, he was scoreless in both games. I don't know what was up with that. You know, eh, I guess he's trying to find his footing. Um, solid bench work. Between Deuce. I love what I saw with him because it's like he didn't miss a beat. He picked up where he left off at. So that was good to see. That was for the Charlotte game, and but overall, I'm like, I'm liking what I see, and I guess it's like got to make a statement, but we'll reserve some for when the actual season because they did play limited minutes. So And we know that that's definitely going to increase, with Tibbs. Um, yeah, I enjoy, watching that game.
Yeah, I thought the Charlotte game, um, I thought the pace was nice in that game. I thought the Knicks played a nice, solid pace in that game. I thought we saw nice minutes and nice play from Cat. Jalen, he finished with 10 points. Jalen Brunson finished with 12. Quiet game for Mikal Bridges, only had 4 points, but Precious Achua had a pretty solid game, minus the end. He had 15 points. I was really thoroughly impressed with Landry Shamet. His shooting range from the three.
Mm.
I think seeing his shooting ability, along with knowing that we have Mikal Bridges and then you have Cameron Payne. I mean, hell, I even loved what I saw from Tyler Kolek as well. But when you look at those guys and what they can do from beyond the arc, you really like, to me, you can't really worry that we don't have Dante DiVincenzo, because you have these guys that can make up for it with the elite shooting, that you have several options now. And I think this is what the Knicks needed. They needed that depth of guys who can score besides what we had before, which was a smaller window. And predominantly the scoring was coming heavily. You had to rely on it heavily from Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, and OG. When healthy, he would have to eventually step up to the plate and do what he needed to do to make sure that we had solid scoring. But I think that the Knicks' depth overall now is fantastic to see. And I thought the game against Charlotte, it was a high-paced game. I didn't really feel like the game had any tone to it, in that it was just like a back and forth speedy game. And almost like, I felt like the pace of that game reminded me of almost like when you watch like a G League game or Summer League.
Yeah.
I mean, better talent was playing, but I just felt like the pace of it was giving me reminiscence of that. And that, whereas when you watch the second preseason game against Washington, it was a little bit more controlled and slowed down, but still had a quick pace to it. I felt like, I don't know, maybe it was the first preseason game jitters rubbed off.
Yeah.
But overall, I thought that the Knicks and Charlotte looked, they looked pretty good. I wasn't really happy with what Precious Achua did at the last second and decided he was going to foul, and they almost lost the game. He got lucky that old dude missed all three free throws.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Dwayne
I'm not sure
Washington.
why would you foul at the end of the game, especially on a 3-point line. It was just very silly. Then flash forward, the Knicks played Washington last night, who was so far 0-2 in preseason. I thought the Knicks played Washington very well, especially in the second quarter. They outscored them 17-35. The Knicks pretty much outscored them minus the first quarter every quarter. And then they started off very strong in the first quarter. Um, Solid game again. Karl Anthony Towns had a double-double. He finished with 25 points, 12 rebounds. Mikal Bridges shooting looked great. I like the aggressiveness, getting to the basket with 16 points. At one point on a drive, he had Jalen Brunson was it like in almost in his way. Brunson finished with 23 points. Cameron Payne finished with 14 points. Tyler Kolek, another strong performance from him at 15 points. Remember when I had told you that I wanted to see Tyler Kolek get in some games, and some people would in that chat saying, I mean, and I did say it would be nice if he gets what the Deuce McBride minutes were looking like before he got signed and before he was on the, like, officially a Knick, when he was back and
Hmm.
forth between G League and Tibbs was giving him anywhere between 2 and 5 minutes in playing time. I think what Kolek is showing Tibbs and the coaching staff is that I'm worthy of getting some minutes and not just the garbage minutes, because in summer league, he looked very comfortable. He looked like a second, third year player the way he was playing out there to me. And seeing what he's doing in these preseason games, this is not like, I understand it's preseason, but this is not the G League. This is not the summer league. This is like you're playing against teams you're going to be playing against the regular season. And
Yeah.
granted, the first two games you're playing against weaker teams, Charlotte and Washington. But I think Tyler Kolek should be getting the playing time. If Tibbs is smart to balance out the minutes, let him show you what he can do against other competitive teams in the East Coast and on the West Coast, so you can see what he could bring to the table. And you see, you're getting a preview of his passing ability. He's not afraid to take the shots. He can shoot the three, his mid range. He drives to the basket. His timing and his patience with the ball. I love what I'm seeing. And honestly, I have to say, Cameron Payne, I think, was another good solid pickup for us. He has the experience. He's been in the league for some time now. He can shoot the ball. And I think the shooters, the players that we have that can shoot the ball, because remember at one point with the Knicks, our issue was the scoring. And we didn't have guys who were solid scorers like on a consistent basis. We corrected that last season, but like I would say before last season, that was an issue that we had with this Knicks team. But now I feel like the Knicks have depth. And I agree with you. Not every player is going to see a lot of playing time with this team.
Mm-hmm.
But I think who we have on this team and the makeup, as long as we stay healthy, this Knicks team is very strong. Very
Yeah.
strong. And I like what I see. What did you see in the Washington game that stood out for you versus the first preseason game against Charlotte?
Oh, but excuse me. Oh, well, it definitely was like better ball movement. And they got up to a great start. Um, and active hands. I mean, they had what like 16, like what steals. Um, the bench, of course, nice. Like you said, it gives you a chance to guys to showcase what they can do. Like Kolek, everybody said, "Oh, Tibbs never plays," as rookies, like that. Well, Kolek may be the exception,
Right,
because of what he's doing and what he's able to do. He's showcasing, well, this is what I could bring. He could be patient where he's not rushing. You know, um, the open, he's not rushing his shots. He drives. He's dish defense. So he's just giving you a glimpse of just what he can do. Um, it was a nice game from Cat. Although his shooting percentage wasn't the best, but just what he had, like 25 points and 12 rebounds. He's 1 for 7 from the 3 point, and then 7 for 20 his field goal. But just what he's just able to do, like, I mean, his versatility, like what he brings to the game. So it's like, man, it's like I said, it's a nice pickup. And just being able to shoot, from the three, or again, she didn't shoot that well. His driving ability, putting it on the floor, just the things that you see, in him. So again, it was a much, better, performance from them overall.
right.
Again, I said I love that pick and roll. Um, you
I
know,
think that pick and roll is good because there's trust.
yeah.
And I think because Brunson knows that there's an option there
Yeah.
offensively going to Cat versus there's a small indecisiveness there when you got to go to Mitch because Mitch, there's only one angle you can go. Whereas if you pass it to Carl, he can either stop and pop, he can draw the defense out, create the spacing, he can dunk, there's options there. Whereas when you go to Mitch, you just got to give him the alley. Mitch will do the nice, powerful dunk, which is great. It's exciting to see, but now we have a big who can, there's an option there and not just, I got to throw him an alley oop and you can get the dunk.
And yeah, and again, his versatility. So he's just not laying out the perimeter. he's multifaceted in what he could do. So it's
Right.
just so refreshing. And again, it's like it's like you don't shade a play because you know what they've done for us, and you know you're grateful as a fan and just as an organization. But you know, it's just what you're bringing to get you to that next level.
Hmm.
And you know, everybody know, all teams know, it's to hoist that trophy up. So again, it's no shade, you know, to him, but I just think that I like as a fan what I see. Just you know, the Knicks, they are a threat. You know,
Yeah.
they're right up there. So
Yeah. And I think as this season goes on, this Knicks team is going to find their rhythm. The continuity between them is going to get stronger. And I think that once everybody truly locks in, um, I think the end goal is going to be the same for everyone on the Knicks team, you know, to be able to lock in and get that championship. And also to move further, because I think that there's somewhat of a little bit of pressure on the Knicks. Like, we know that you guys can get past the first round, but can you get past the second round?
hmm
And I'm not going to say that there's one player that's the answer. Carl Anthony Towns not the only answer. It's going to take them playing together to get there and to move further. And it takes teams time. I understand that. But I think that having who we have on this floor, honestly, I can say that this Knicks team truly looks like they have more depth. And now we have more options and shooting guys who can provide shooting and they have range. You know, Mikal Bridges also, he's a walking bucket. So he's capable of also giving you the points. And you know what? I think Brunson, as the season goes on, he'll realize that I don't have to give you 20 plus points a night. It's okay if maybe I only get 17 tonight, but I could get high assists. You know, I could be a facilitator tonight and
hmm
set other guys up like Cameron, like, you know, and also at the same time being the captain and the leader that you are, you can coach guys like Kolick and Deuce and make sure that they're doing what they do. So you can sit down and rest, you know, so when you come back in, you're good. So I just think that this team has a lot of options of what they can do and where they can go. And I think that guys who are new to this Knicks team sees that this Knicks team is a winning team. It's a different organization, whereas before we used to just take anybody. So it's a privilege to be here and to play here, and you're gonna get far. So, you know, I really I think that these guys here are gonna be gelling together and playing together.
Yeah, and I agree. And you know, if you can remember last year, you know, playing with Brunson, he made guys better because that's what your point guard's supposed to do. He made them richer. So I heart, you know, he did elevate his game
Hmm.
because he played so well, you know, he's gotten better. So I'm gonna flip it, you know, in the reverse, you know, by playing with Cat. And the player can all you they that's the end goal to get better. So
Hmm.
just by playing with a high caliber player like that, his game is only gonna get better.
Of course.
So, you know, that works twofold. You know, you make players better, but now with the guys that you're surrounded with, it'll make you a better player.
Yeah.
um you know, you have like depth, you have wings that could defend, and you know, guys that can shoot, so it just makes it for a better cohesive, you know, unit to play, you know, with.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's been the trend though. Like, guys who come to the Knicks team, their game has grown and they've gotten better compared to when they were on other teams. They come here and somehow they develop and get better within their craft. It doesn't appeal to everyone on the team. There's still a few question marks of some guys who, even in preseason, I'm wondering what's going on. The defense is not looking good, but that's for a whole nother conversation. Kareem Grant Salute said, if Tyler gets minutes, then who will lose theirs? Honestly, I don't even think it's necessarily about who will lose their minutes. I think we got to look at it like most coaches, and a coach like Tibbs is going to go by game situations. So whoever he feels is the right fit against whatever opponent that we're going against, maybe Tyler may be the fit for that game. I don't think he's going to necessarily reduce minutes of guys like Deuce or whoever on the team. But I also think that each player on this next team especially coming from last year, whether they've been on this team or they're new, they understand that next man up mentality and guys are gonna be ready. But I think that Tyler Kolek should definitely be getting the minutes to go out there and play. So this way we're not just throwing him to the wolves randomly. But I think if he does get the minutes, I think it's more of maybe Tibbs see that he's a better fit depending on who we're playing against compared to someone else on the team that maybe he feels like Tyler's giving him what he's looking for, what he needs. So I think it's just game by game, depending on who we're playing. Certain players may get, you may not see certain players get minutes like that in certain games because maybe Tibbs is like, I don't really want to go with him. I feel like this guy is a better fit for this matchup, and that player is showing it on the floor as well. So I think it's game by game deciding who I'm gonna put in, who Tibbs is gonna put in, and who will be a better fit. I like that Moses Brown pickup definitely since Sims got injured last night. Sims is real sorry.
Yeah,
He's real sorry. He can't play
Moses
defense.
made. Hmm.
No, go ahead.
No. Yeah, I saw he's day to day, huh? Yeah, and same thing with Deuce. I saw that they're like day to day.
Yeah, I did see the Moses Brown pickup, but I heard that they're saying that he's most likely not going to make the team. So I don't know. He's another one. Will Tibbs give him some minutes? Seems like Tibbs is allowing guys to play all the way down to top end to see what they can do on, throughout preseason. So we'll see. I'll look to see if he gets playing time in their next game. Damian Cox salute said, I do have concerns about the Knicks bench for 2025, even though the Knicks are looking good so far. What concerns do you have about the Knicks bench? Do you feel like they don't have enough depth? Or do you feel like me, like they don't have a deep enough bench?
For me, I kind of like a deep enough. You got Achua, you got Deuce, Cam, you got Payne, and Shaman. Isn't he? Is he still on that Exhibit 10? So, who else? Oh, Sims. Yeah, I feel it's not deep enough because only one that could really like Sims. I mean, that's what it's like a question mark for him. Precious, yeah, he played great in those two games, but we seen sometimes where you know he's hesitant, just shooting and scoring. Um, so you want somebody that like that's just gonna come in and just like be that presence and where like I mean, he played good over it, like Embiid, like play like how that game, when you fronted him and you blocked that shot. So be that forceful type of player. It's like you play great one game and then you don't have such a great game the other two games. Deuce, I'm not worried about him. Even like campaign because we know he what type of player he is, and he's not gonna get a ton of minutes, but when he comes in, he's gonna make the best of it.
Yeah.
But outside of that, yeah, I do have concerns about the bench. I mean, there's depth, but there's still concern.
Yeah. I think that we have to see how the bench contributes and can they keep up the pace of what the starters do. And I think that yeah, like MB said, I think that there'll be times where you have Mikel or someone from the starters will rock with the bench unit, just because we don't have a full deep enough bench to. But do I think that who we have can compete? Yes. Now it's up to them
Yeah.
to be able to actually do that on a nightly basis, and be able to withstand and do it long enough that Tibbs doesn't feel like he has to necessarily bring the starters back in so quickly. So I don't know. The Knicks don't have enough bench depth, no disrespect, and will Carl Anthony Towns show up in the playoffs as well? Why wouldn't he show up? I don't think that. The only way a player, not just Carl Anthony Towns, but any player, is not going to show up in the playoffs is if they're hurt. Like there's no
No,
reason why we should be having a part two of Randall pre-injury not showing up. Like there's no
no,
reason why a player should be shying away and not coming through for us in the playoffs.
yeah, but that's been the concern or the talk. But he's held his own. I think with Joking, he's like one of the best out there. I mean, I think he's gonna hold his own and show up and not shy away from that big moment. Um, if Mitch is healthy and he turns into a starter, Towns go back to the four. Um, it he can possibly, ain't no can, but it'll definitely, I guess take some weight off his shoulders and where he can his natural position. Hart goes, I guess, to the bench. So I mean, I believe he'll be there doing playoffs and he'll hold his own. I mean, that's my thing. I think he will.
Yeah, same. It'll be interesting to see him play on Sunday. The Knicks play against the Minnesota Timberwolves on Sunday at 6. So that should be an interesting game to watch. I will be tuned into that as well. I mean, I think it works out timing wise because I think the Liberty game will come on at 3, I think, on Sunday. And then the Knicks will be playing at 6. So yeah, I'm just looking to see how this Knicks like right now I'm looking at individually how guys are doing, and I'm also looking at how the Knicks are doing as a whole. And again, it's a long season. It's 82 games. Then you got to deal with the whole in-season tournament. Then you got to look at the longevity of health amongst the guys, and then prepare for a playoffs, which is a whole different animal. So I think the Knicks just got to take it game by game. You want each month that you have a successful month and win more games than you're losing. That's for damn sure because, you know, you don't want to have a month where you just, it's not looking too good and you're not doing well. But overall, I think that the pickups of who this Knicks team acquired and picked up, I'm comfortable and I like what I'm seeing and who we have. So, I think the biggest thing is fluidity in the offense, and then the Knicks playing really good defense, and that's what's going to make them a good team. The Knicks have to step up their defense for sure this season. We've seen bits and pieces where they play solid defense and they're great, and then sometimes they move away from what's working. So I think having that consistency is what's going to matter for them. And again, they traded Randall, they traded Devo, but I don't think that we're really going to miss either the two when you look at who we have. Whereas before, Randall gave you a lot. He gave you a double double. You got um, great shooting from Dante when he wasn't being streaky, but I thought at times a lot of the offense fell heavily on like one to three guys. And now I feel like this Knicks team has a team of weapons that they can bring in that now the defense has to pay attention to and not pay attention to Brunson or when we had Randall. Those were the two guys that the defense had to pay attention to. So yeah, I'm still saying that the Knicks need to definitely win more than 50 games. I would like to see them win at least 58 games. Um, and then you got to get past the second round of the playoffs. So I got them 58 and 14. It's doable. And yeah, they have to stay within that top 3 of the Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference is going to be very competitive this year. It's going to
Okay.
be very tough. It's not going to be weak like it was last year. So guys just got to be ready and just praying for good health. Um, you know, within the season. But the New York Liberty start the finals tonight. They face off against the Minnesota Lynx. This is going to be, I feel like, their real test. I thought the Vegas Aces was a test, a pre-test.
Yeah.
And this is going to be the real challenge because we played Minnesota 4 times. The Liberty only beat them once. And to be honest, I didn't think we even beat them once. So I missed that one. And as
Yeah,
I
we
was doing my
did.
research, yeah, no, I know I'm saying we did. I didn't realize that we beat them one time. I
Yeah.
thought that we just didn't, we weren't able to beat them at all. But before we get into starting this series, you go back to the semifinals. The Liberty faced off against the Vegas Aces, knocked out Asia Wilson and her squad. What impressed you with that series?
Oh man. Um, first two games they took it. At home. Um, just the togetherness they played, and just the ball movement, their defense. Um, that it was just great. And then, of course, game three, the Aces came out with a different game plan. Um, they locked in on Sabrina. And they shut her down. Um, because they know, of what she can bring. And she's also one of those versatile players, just her versatility, just the screens, being able to go downhill. She just her floaters, just whatever, the things she's able to do on the floor. So the Ace is like, okay, well, we got to shut her down, you know. And so that's how, I guess, guess that's how they were able to win game three. Then the Aces like reversed it on them. They dictated the game. They had that smothering defense. And so they walked away with game three. Then game four. Like I was saying, how she's gonna make that adjustment for game three. And she did. And then I was like, okay, now Sandy has to respond. And she did. So instead of making Sabrina the primary ball handler, she moved that task. She gave that task to Stewie. So Stewie was able to a bigger defender. She's able to bring the ball up. So now that frees Sabrina up. So that was, like I said, Sandy responded. She changed up the game plan. Um, they was clicking on all cylinders. And they beat Vegas at home. So again, they just how they were able to respond, and just you know they didn't let Vegas, as Vegas got within, earshot. It was 4 points. So again, just being able to respond, Sandy calls those timeouts, and they able to, capitalize off of that timeout or in that possession. Um, yeah, and just overall, just it's like a, not, I won't say revenge, but and it is, it is when you think about it. The Aces beat them at home, sent them home. Um, they beat them what, 3-1. So the Liberty said, okay, well, we got to respond, and that's what they did, and this is why they're in the finals.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think the Liberty took to heart what happened last year. I think they were hurt, they were embarrassed, they wanted it, but not bad enough. And this year, there was a lot of players last year in the Liberty. It was their first time in the finals. So I think some of them said it was moving too fast for them. But I think this year players are locked in. They're ready. They're like, I don't think it's just for them, but I think also that a lot of these players realize that the New York Liberty franchise has yet to win a championship. The Liberty lost in the finals in 97, 99, 2000, 2002, and 2003. So
23.
2023. And it's like you can't go and lose a sixth finals. You have to win this one. So since they've been in a franchise since 97, they've made it several times to the finals, which is not easy because a lot of other organizations can't say that they've been able to do that.
Yeah.
When you look at a team like the Minnesota Lynx, who's won 5 titles under Cheryl Reeve, who's a really good coach, um, the Liberty have to be able to win it. But I think going back to that semifinals round against the Aces, I thought that the Liberty, one of the biggest adjustments that they made was having Stewie bring up the ball. And to be honest, I think they need to keep with that. Unless it's Courtney Vandersloot, when she comes in, she can bring up the ball. My only thing is with Courtney bringing up the ball is that she has to watch out for Courtney Williams, who will just try to steal it from her and run down the other end. Because sometimes Courtney, it's not because she's being sloppy. I just think she needs to watch out for the defense coming at her. Now, really quickly, I'm going to ask you, who was your notable player from the last series? We probably have the same one.
Well, from game 4.
No, from the Vegas series, from semifinals in total. Who was your notable player of the series?
Um, I would say, I mean, I want to say Stewie, but I'm gonna go with Sabrina
Yeah, that's
because
mine.
of the adjustment that she was able to make. Like she had a horrible game on game 3, and even last year she just elevated herself. So she had a horrible game, and so she was able, along of course with the coaching, to make that adjustment, and how she was, able to, score, and just the other things that she did defense. So I would definitely go with her.
Yeah. I think it was also the Aces were just playing really good defense against Sabrina. So that's why she couldn't have her way. And then the Liberty just not creating spacing. But you flash forward to now, the finals start tonight. The Liberty are playing the first 2 games at home because they had the best record. So they do have home court advantage. We both know it's imperative that the Liberty win the first 2 games, especially winning tonight's game. When you look at the matchups, I want to talk about matchups for this series. Who do you have guarding Nafisa Collier?
Um,
Because I have Brianna Stewart guarding her.
yeah, I think it's probably be Stewie. Um, I think she should be the primary defender on her, because Nafisa, she's like a Sabrina, where she's able to fight the screen. She's able to go downhill, and she can, go left, and then or you think she's gonna go right, she's going left, and vice versa. Um, so I think as a defender, I think Stewie should definitely, be, have that task, because she's a better defender for her. So I would definitely hope it's gonna be that way.
Yeah, I think it is going to be Brianna Stewart because she's quicker. She has the wingspan, which is way longer than Jonquel's. Jonquel's also too slow. And if you have her guarding Nafisa, she's probably going to get the early quick fouls that we don't need her to go ahead and get, which is going to hurt us at the end. So, excuse me, I think it's important that Stewie stays on Nafisa. I think Jonquel needs to worry about guarding what's her name?
Um,
Oh,
not
Natasha Heidemann. She needs to worry about guarding her
No,
because
Heisman, she's the guard. I mean, well, no, they're probably gonna Alana Smith gonna, or be tasked along with probably Maisha Hines Allen.
yeah, that's what I meant to say. Maisha Hines
Yeah.
Allen. She needs to worry about guarding her because I feel like every time we play them, Maisha Hines Allen is never guarded. She's
Mm.
making the most simplest layups. She's getting the ball. She's getting rebounds. And I'm like, but who's guarding her? So because she is a bigger body, she needs to have Jonquel Jones guarding her when she's playing in the game. I think Courtney Williams needs to be guarded by, I don't know. I want to say either Vandersloot, because I don't think Benijah Laney. I think Benijah Laney should be on Kayla McBride. Yeah, because you need somebody to stop Kayla because she's another threat.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
can hit the three. She can drive to the basket. You need
yeah. She's
someone
just, yeah.
a little taller, and Courtney's not as tall. And I think that um I think Phoebish should be guarding either Alana Smith or Bridget Carlton because she's another one. We never play defense on her.
Mhm.
And that's really all who they play. Nafisa, Alana Smith, Bridget Carlton, Courtney Williams, Kayla McBride, Natasha Heidemann, and Maisha Allen.
Yeah, they don't have a deep bench
No. And they
compared
also don't have the height.
to
So
height. Yeah. Hmm.
I think that Jonquel needs to, one, check her emotions. Don't get frustrated. Don't do silly fouls because Cheryl Reeve is gonna play the game, have them play the game so that Jonquel gets in early foul trouble.
Oh yeah.
And I did see a press game conference that they did yesterday, and Jonquel did speak about that. She said, I have to make sure that I don't get in foul trouble early. So she knows these things, which is good. She's aware. The awareness is there. But I think that if the Liberty are smart, they'll get the ball like they did against the Aces and against Atlanta in round one, and they'll feed it down low in the paint. And I think for the Liberty to win, give it to Jonquel, get easy buckets, don't settle for the threes. Let Stewie go to work. Stewie has to be very aggressive, her and Jonquel. Like Sabrina will get her points, but I think it's so imperative for those two players to be so aggressive. Because let me tell you something. If Nafisa Collier could give you 40 points tonight, I'm not saying that we need 40 points from both of you, but it's no reason why you both don't have a double double. And the Liberty are 7-3 when Jonquel Jones gets a double double. So it's so important that Jonquel Jones not only has a good scoring night, but a rebounding night and defensive night as well. I think Brianna needs to be aggressive. She needs to find her way to the basket. And I can't say it enough. Jonquel Jones has to play the best games of her career this series. And then I think Sabrina needs to allow the game to come to her, but still be aggressive. And she has to watch out for Kayla McBride and Courtney Williams, who's going to try to rattle her, who's going to try to steal the ball from her, who's going to, when she goes and takes her shots or tries to drive. And I think for Stewie, when she plays defense against Nafisa, who they played it with each other in Connecticut at UConn,
Yeah. Hmm.
and I think they're also like another rival like Brianna and Asia because Brianna and Asia being the MVPs with their stat line, and then Brianna and Nafisa because they're both came and they collaborated on the whole three on three tournament that they have coming up after the W's over. Well, it'll be starting before the W, but I think that Nafisa, like the Aces do with Asia, they run off of her energy.
Yeah.
But the great thing about Nafisa Collier, she has excellent patience. She doesn't allow no defense to rush her. She doesn't allow her game to rush and fast forward. She doesn't allow anybody to slow her down too much. And the thing is with Minnesota, um they have excellent patience. They don't rush. They allow the ball, everyone to touch the ball on most of their possessions, and they like to run. So I think the Liberty have to take advantage and run against them and play at the Liberty type basketball, their speed in order to score against them. But what are your keys for the Liberty to, you know, I'm asking this to win the series, but as we both know, it's so important that you win the first game, especially. But really, to me, it's important, imperative that the Liberty win the first two games. You don't want to do like connect the Connecticut series and Minnesota series where I'm gonna win one and you're gonna win one. We're not gonna do that and trade wins. You have to win the first two games at home and establish your markings and put the pressure on Minnesota. But what will it take, or what are some keys that the Liberty have to make sure that they implement and do and stick with to beat this Minnesota, this very disciplined
Yeah,
Minnesota
man.
Lynx? They're very
Well,
disciplined.
I'm definitely, predicting, the Liberty to win. And I'm saying in four because they could take the first two home games. Of course, then Minnesota make the adjustments like how the Aces did, and then Liberty will figure it out, come back in game three. Yeah, they did beat them, even in the Commissioner's Cup. But for me, the Liberty's experience will prevail, and just again going, through last season's loss. So that's fuel for them, and that now they have this chip on their shoulder. The Liberty have two former MVPs in Stewie and Jones.
Mhm.
So again, that's experience right there. Last year we all know Stewie wasn't healthy. She was going through some family issues. Um, so and she even said, w- she mentioned it, in one of their press conference. So she's healthy, she's there mentally, emotionally. So that's the weight off her shoulder. Now she can play Stewie ball, and so that's definitely key. um Sabrina's playing lights out. She has to continue that.
Agreed.
Aside from that game three from the
Pacers.
semi, she's been playing lights out. She's averaging over 20 points. And just her abilities and what she's able to do. As you mentioned, I'm gonna piggyback JJ. She has to play, get those emotions in check.
Mhm.
um she has to utilize her size. She does have the height advantage. So she has the advantage over them. So and she damn near has to play like a flawless game because, you know, we always say Sabrina and Stewie, but you're just as pivotal as that dynamic too. So you could be
Absolutely.
that three-headed monster. So she definitely has to, be make that contribution. Otherwise, offensively, everything is gonna fall on Sabrina and Stewie. So she has to, definitely be locked in. Like you said, when they're 7-3, and when she scores a double double, so she's definitely has to, bring her A game. The bitch, being inserted into that starting lineup, that gives them depth, height. So she was in foul trouble, for game four. Again, they look at film, see, where the foul came from, what they can do. So she's definitely have to make that adjustment because she's gonna be needed on the floor defensively and offensively. Um, and just that hunger, their tenacity is what's gonna prevail them. Aside from, of course, we know they got home court experience. And just like their experience alone is, they've been playing, longer. Yeah, they were new as far as bringing Stewie and Sloot and, Jones over, but just together, and combined with them playing, their experience should, again, bring them, you know, should prevail because Minnesota, they have a lot of these players that they just picked up this year. So they have a lot of new players. Yeah, they were second at 30-10, and they're in the finals. But what I'm saying is that with the Liberty and just being playing last year, and you're falling short. So that's like, that's you could diffuse you, and it does put a chip on your shoulder. Um, so I
And
guess just playing together longer, is what I'm trying to is compared to the Lynx. Um, So and again, they just just play together, and I get in that two-man game between either Sabrina and Stewie or Sabrina and JJ. So again, you got to capitalize off of that. And I just watch your terms, which they have been, minimizing that. And your defenses, that's what you're known for. So you play that, and then of course we our bench, I feel is much more deeper than theirs. So the bench definitely gonna have to definitely come in. But I think this is why what's gonna bring them to the championship. Definitely lift that trophy up.
Yeah, I think the Liberty have to want it more. We know that they want it, but every time that we've lost against Minnesota, they didn't do anything special.
No.
And it wasn't even necessary that they out hustled the Liberty. The Liberty just was a step too slow or not really locked in together, playing together. And then the Liberty just, they were missing a mark, and I think a key thing too, like you mentioned, is you gotta limit the mistakes. It's not even just the turnovers, it's other little mistakes like traveling, stopping your dribble too soon, Courtney Vandersloot. And Courtney, believe it or not, I think with her mom's passing, she wants to win this championship as well. And she's also a champion. She knows what it takes. She won one out in Chicago. But I
Yeah.
think that this is fueling her to play like really well. And I think Courtney, remember in last year's game that would have brought it back to Vegas, she missed the last shot. No, the
Yeah.
play wasn't set up for her, but there's pressure on her too to like make sure she performs
Like
this
redeem herself.
round right, exactly. And another person I think that needs to step up too is Benijah Laney Hamilton. Like we know what she could do defensively, but I think we're gonna need more offensive production from her and scoring to take some of the defensive pressure off of um Brianna
Yeah.
Sad and Jonquel. And then Phoebish, if she can get involved early with the threes and not get in foul trouble early, that'll be huge for us. And I think also like if Kayla Thornton could come in and give us some points, that'll be nice. But the difference is Minnesota has production from a little bit of everybody. That's how they're able also to win games. And I think Stewie's going to have to play front facing defense and make Nafisa work for that ball, because her footwork is crazy. She can do a little bit of everything. Nafisa's footwork is phenomenal.
Hmm.
She could play inside, outside. She could shoot the three. And I think the Liberty, they just got to contest. Like, I don't want to see Courtney Williams shooting those mid range shots all night and no one's contesting her and you're watching her shoot it. Put a hand up. You know what I mean? Like, she's like a little mouse and they just let her run over wherever she wants and just shoot. So the Liberty have to lock in defensively. The crowd is going to be there for them. The crowd is
Oh
going to be
man.
screaming. The Barclays is probably rumbling tonight. So I heard the halftime show is going to be Rick Ross. So it's gonna be very very loud in there. The Liberty just have to play smart. Stewie needs to take over, be aggressive. Jonquel needs to take over, be aggressive. Jonquel Jones, and as well as the role players, other role players, and the bench players need to come in and play well. I got the Liberty winning in 4. A lot of people have this series in 5. The Liberty just have to take it this year. They
Yeah.
have to. I hope it's not a stressful game. I don't want my anxiety to be high tonight, being that this is a late game. So we'll see. I know the game is starting soon. And hopefully we can stop this curse and the Liberty can get their first championship win for their franchise.
Hmm.
Yeah, you think it's going to be a high scoring game?
Yeah, probably about maybe about no, maybe about 80, mid 80s, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think gonna be that much.
yeah. Um, yeah, we'll see. But I'm curious with the matchups too, so I'll be looking out for that. But I think who we said so far is who's going to be guarding who. I'm curious who's going to be guarding Courtney Williams and Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But I don't want to see, like I said, I don't want to see Bridget Carlton shooting threes. I don't want to see Alana Smith grabbing rebounds and shooting threes. And I don't want to see a lot of threes from Courtney Williams, Kayla McBride, or Nafisa Collier. Because once they start shooting threes, they don't miss them. We was at the game when they played against them and they weren't missing any threes.
Oh yeah, man,
So
it's their ball
to the
movement.
miss, yeah, their ball movement was crazy. And the Liberty can't don't double team tonight either.
Mm,
Unfortunately, with this team, you can't afford to double team because the way they swing the ball, someone's going to be open and they're going to make the easy shot, or someone's going to shoot a three. You just can't. Don't double team. Just let Stewie play against Nafisa and do what she needs to do. She's a great defender. Let her handle her own, and we'll see. So Liberty have to take tonight's game. It's important. We'll be checked back in on Sunday. The Liberty will play game two on Sunday, and then the Knicks will be playing on Sunday as well on against Minnesota. So two New York teams playing Minnesota on Sunday. Lovely.
oh,
So we'll be back Sunday morning to recap this game, and it'll be a pregame, and then we'll also do a pregame for the Knicks as well. So I'm looking forward to that. So we'll see you all Sunday.
yeah, Damien, I'm nervous too.
Yo, for real, we behind them. So the Liberty just got to take it. Don't let us down. Don't let yourselves down
Sure.
either. So we'll see. But salute to everybody in the chat for joining us today. Kareem Grant, Wonder Woman, Walter Blackman, Asua09, Damian Cox, MBM. Um, yeah, and shout out to you who are those of you who are not in the chat, the replay gang as well for joining us. Wishing the Liberty luck. We need I think New York as a whole, we need a championship here. You know, we got some opportunities. We got the Liberty, the Yankees, and the Mets. Something's got to happen. The Knicks. I hope this is like the Liberty win it so we could patch the torch over to the Knicks. So we got to make it happen. Salute to AP as well. But until next time, everybody, watch the game. I believe they're going to be on ESPN, except for Sunday's game is going to be on ABC. So yeah, let's go Liberty, let's go Knicks, and yeah, we'll see everybody Sunday.
Peace.
Peace, everybody.
That game.